What's up? This is Will. Welcome to Will's Wheel, where we don't reinvent the wheel to success. Today we'll be discussing my experiences as a landlord. My first property was in 2014. This was during the time when they were just starting to build the Inglewood Stadium. So you had a lot of investors. Initially, that's where I was trying to buy. But I was getting outbid because I was going against teams of investors and I was just a single investor. And I was, wet behind the ears trying to learn the game. I had an agent and I found a duplex down the street from Centinela Hospital, which is located in Inglewood. She wanted me to go over the asking price, $10,000. And I was kind of like, why? There's already a bid over $5,000 for it so that we can get in there because it was very competitive at that time. I just had like a gut feeling that she was trying to play games or trying to work me. I ended up basically firing her. Years later, she came back and admitted that she was trying to work me and actually had the audacity to try to come and say, could she work for me again? And I'm like, nah, I'm cool. That's one of the key things I would definitely say. Follow your gut. Don't overpay for a property. It's cool to go a couple thousand over if you really want to get it, but just going far and beyond out of your budget just to get it, it's not worth it. Have patience and get the property that you really want and that you can build up, and that'll get you that cash flow. Because the things I look at is, okay, how much out of pocket I'm gonna pay and how much am I gonna get in return off the rents. At the time, you're gonna pay the same amount of money for a duplex that you could basically pay for a fourplex. You could stay in one, you can use an FHA loan, and then you can rent the other three out, pay your mortgage, and then after a year, you can move out and then rent that other unit out. So when it was all said and done, I ended up buying property in Watts. It was owned by an older lady. She had owned it probably for like 27 years. She was getting older and she just couldn't keep up with the maintenance and the tenants and everything that went with owning a property. So boom, I ended up putting down $26,000. That's with closing costs, everything. If you have a foundation, you have a career and you're making, and this is just me, my take, $100,000 or more a year, and you go in with 2 years work experience. As long as you have the down payment, you have your W-2s, they're gonna pull up your bank records, your check stubs, 90 days of check stubs. Once they see everything is legit, your debt to income ratio, they're gonna approve you for money. I mean, anywhere from $500,000 to $700,000. It's pretty easy from there to get the property. When I was looking for my properties, I was looking for, like I said, a 4-unit. I wanted to go into an occupied unit because it's already cash flowing. So all the tenants there were already Section 8. I grew up in an apartment building, Section 8. So I never really had like a bad outlook on Section 8 tenants because my mom was cool. She kept good care of the apartment building when we were coming up. She cleaned it. She didn't tear the property up. And I know that's like a big misconception as far as with Section 8 tenants is they're gonna tear your property up, they're horrible. That's not true, and I knew that from my experience. So I never really had a problem with Section 8 tenants. I actually preferred to have Section 8 tenants because it's guaranteed money. When I bought the property and registered that property with Section 8, it could either be through the city or through the county, depending on what kind of voucher that person has. Create an owner's portal. And as you rent the property out, you can see if they have evictions, how many children they have, how old they are, if they're military. So you have full control as the owner of that property. They have all type of programs through Section 8 to where you can set your unit up however you want to set it up. Most of all, I like that it's guaranteed money. So when the pandemic did happen, I never missed rent. Don't get me wrong, some of the Section 8 people will be a little ghetto. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. Everybody got they hang-ups. It is what it is. But it's the difference between being kind of ghetto and being respectful, so you got to respect the property. I had a family that lived in one of my units and their voucher was for 3 people. And it was obviously more people living in there, which I didn't really care. It is what it is. It was just kind of a quiet understanding of, okay, man, you got like 7 people living in my apartment building, my 2-bedroom. Don't call me if the plumbing go out or something get damaged. Take care of it. I'm not sweating you, all these people you got living in my apartment. Well, obviously somebody didn't give them that memo, and they wanted to call me for stuff they were stuffing down the drains because you got 7 people using my toilet. And so I served her with a 90-day notice to get out of my property. It's time for us to part ways because there's a lack of understanding. You're gonna have people, they're gonna abuse the voucher. I mean, let's just be realistic. And if you're gonna be in a real estate game as far as with rentals, that's just something you have to understand. But you can establish a line of respect. Just respect my property, and I'm gonna respect what you doing. Don't create extra damage on my stuff. So another issue I had a tenant, a lawsuit claiming I gave her bed bugs, which I didn't. You just have some people, they just gonna do what they gonna do, you know, and it's unfortunate, but that's why you have insurance. So definitely make sure you have insurance. Make sure everything is documented. Make sure you get your proper lead test on the paint, because that's another hustle. People will say, oh, well, I got poisoned because of the lead paint. Make sure your leases are on point. Make sure if they ever have any issue, handle it immediately. Make sure it's documented, dated, have it in paper, have it in an email form. That's the biggest thing that's gonna save you a lot of money from people doing things that you just out of your control. Be well documented. Anything goes on with the plumbing, have a handyman on site, a phone call away to handle anything that you need to be done. That way it's never an issue coming back to you. Make sure you're on top of your game. You know, you gotta be very meticulous. Yeah, you make money owning an apartment, but it is hard work as far as you want to make sure everything is flowing. And a lot of times that involves investing money on the front end to make sure everything runs smoothly, making sure that the plumbing is up to date, making sure your roof is good, making sure the electricity is good. It's just everything you make, you want to invest back into the property to make sure the property is running efficiently. It's kind of the best way to view ownership of property. Address the issue before it becomes an issue and snowballs into a bigger financial problem. The more up to date, the less issues you have with the property, the less you're going to have tenants calling you complaining about stuff. You know, I changed out all the carpet every year in each unit. Put up a fence around the whole property so the people felt safe, secure, kept people out from just walking on my property. Those are the things you want to look at. How can I make my tenants feel safe and also show them that I take pride in my property? You know, you respect the property, then they're going to respect it. You know, I landscape the front. These are things that they can enjoy. Then they're going to protect the property because they're like, man, look, man, he make it look nice for us. Obviously, he's putting money into this property to make it nice for us. I hired property management as I started doing more work in my professional life, and I couldn't like do the hands-on stuff like I used to when I first got the property. Property management, they're cool. I'm not like a huge fan of them because the first couple of years I had my property, I did everything on my own. So I learned how to do all the Section 8, the different types of Section 8. If they had a city voucher or county voucher, how to put in increases so I can get more money, knowing their counselors, when they were going to come do an inspection. I want to be really hands-on so I can learn the business of owning units. I got so good at it. The property managers that I did have, I would have to give them some game on how to do certain things. Do the work first. That way you know how your business runs. So even if you put somebody in there, you're going to be able to tell immediately if they're actually doing their job. The one benefit I would say to have a property management, if you just have a bunch of properties, then it's probably cool. But if you got like, say, 2 or 3, you kind of do it on your own. Definitely make sure all your paperwork is on point. Document everything. Have a email folder that you have designated for that property. Just make sure all your paperwork is in order. safeguard yourself as much as possible. Make you some ironclad lease agreements that cover everything that they could potentially come against you as far as with a lawsuit. That's when you write them up, that if they take you to court for anything, that they pay for their own lawyer fees. Protect yourself, because people are scandalous, and you can have a good heart. You can be trying to look out for people, and all they see is, oh, he got money. I need some of that money. I'm doing bad. And so they're going to figure out a way how to get that money. Oh, I tripped, I fell, or oh, I had bed bug. And now they trying to take you to court and sue you. And you looking at them like, I talk to you every month. Why you didn't say anything? One lawsuit could wipe you out. But they don't care, because they just looking at it from, I'm doing bad, I'm in poverty, he's got money, and that's all they gonna think. I had State Farm insurance, and I've had them since I've been getting properties. I love them, they're good. They were very supportive when I went through my case, very understanding, empathetic to what I was going through. It wasn't like, oh, well, that's your problem. So I would definitely recommend them. When you first get the property, definitely do not waive the inspection. The inspection is going to cover if there's plumbing issue, electrical issues, roof issues, your AC unit. And if you waive those things and don't get them looked at before purchasing that property and closing on the deal, you could just be walking into a huge debt. Make sure you're there when they do the inspection. Climbing up in the roof, looking up underneath the house, running the water, checking the electrical, because a lot of times they don't. They'll just glance kind of through, and then you'll get in there and start doing your thing, and then you'll look up into the roof and see, oh, the installation is not up to code. Now you got to come back and make repairs. Just to put new installation, you're looking at anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000. And if you already put down, say, $20,000 to $30,000 on closing costs just to get that property, now here you are, $10,000 out of pocket, $5,000 out of pocket. Make sure the plumbing is up to date, not clay pipes, because anything involving your sewer system coming into the house, $20,000 or more to get that replaced. Secondly, I would say, know where you're buying, know the neighborhood, know the community, know the area, know what you're getting into before you just get into it. You just go buy a unit that's being ran by the local gang, and now you're trying to put them out and they destroying your property or trying to destroy you. You know, that's not a good look. For the fellas, I would say, do not mess with the tenants. I repeat, do not have relations with your tenants. Don't do it, man. You know, stay professional. You know, just tell them like, you know, I'm flattered, but you know, I'm with somebody, or you know, that's not appropriate. I'll be respectful with it, because once you start going that route and messing with your tenants, it's just messy business. You stay solid in all your decisions and what you do. Being a landlord is cool. It's definitely profitable. It's a lot of risk, but there's also a lot of reward. Just educate yourself. Go in, know that it's a learning experience. It's going to be hard at first. Have patience. Treat people like people. Treat them with respect. And a lot of times they will respect you. Don't take it personal. Never let somebody or your tenants pull you out of your character. Understand it's gonna be up years, it's gonna be down years, but always stick with it and it'll level itself out and you'll find success in it.